Welcome to our very special interview for our program Cotton. And today my guest is Manindra Nath Thakur. He is associate professor with Center of Studies Political Science in JNU. And it's quite interesting that actually how could I get him and why this conversation today? Because recently I was browsing on my phone and suddenly came across somebody speaking about Gandhi, and I am always interested uh, on Gandhi, and I look forward to refreshing ideas on Gandhian thoughts. So when I was listening to that, I didn't know the speaker, but then I was listening to him, and suddenly I got hooked to it, and I couldn't leave the video without completing this thing, completely hearing the talk. And then suddenly I just entered who is this person, and I found that okay, he's Professor Manindranath Tagore, who teaches political science in Delhi, JNU. So that is how he is here today. We are here discussing Gandhi, and I would like to say that this discussion, this interview, I would like to treat it as a tribute to Gandhiji on his death anniversary. So I once again welcome you to Cotton. And my first question is very simple, very, very simple. And the first question, and I'd like to keep it, you see, what is the legacy of Gandhiji for us today in India and also globally?
Thank you, Pareshji. I think thank you very much. And that particular video you were talking about, that was a talk delivered to philosophy students.
Okay.
So, a very special occasion for me also, talking to philosophy students about philosophy of Gandhi. So I really
Where was it?
enjoyed.
Where was it?
This was in a college in Delhi University, in one of the colleges.
Okay.
So there are other talks of mine in Gandhi centers. A couple of them are in Pune, one in Guwahati. So
In
in last
Guwahati
couple,
too.
yeah, in Guwahati also. IIT Guwahati, I delivered a lecture on Gandhi's ethical realism.
Okay.
So in last few years, I have been involved in teaching and thinking Gandhi, and it's quite impressive. I let me begin by saying that uh, my uh, my exposure to Gandhi happened only after I was fully exposed to Marxism. So, initially, when I came to Delhi University as a student, we had a teacher, Professor Randhir Singh,
Yes, I
who used to
know.
teach Marxism. You must be
Mm,
knowing, yes. A
mm.
great teacher, and
Yes,
we all
yes.
were influenced by him. He used to give a statement. Somebody asked him a question. Was Gandhi a liberal? Is Gandhi a Marxist? Was Gandhi a liberal? Was Gandhi a Marxist? Is he relevant today? And his reply was, Gandhi was neither a liberal nor a Marxist, therefore he is very relevant today. So the idea is that Gandhi transcends these ideological boundaries, and therefore he is very, very important for everybody, particularly at the moment when uh, there is so much of polarization, there is so much of division, there are so many rigid boundaries created in terms of ideas, communities, and everything. At that time, Gandhi becomes very important because I think he believed in dialogue. And his belief in dialogue is very civilizational. He used to argue that he was an Anekantwadi. This Anekantwad philosophy emerged in 6th century BC in Bihar, or around that. It's very difficult to define a date for this, but it was part of Jain philosophy. It is part of Jain philosophy, which talks about knowledge of partial truth and possibility of dialogue. So Gandhi adopted that from there, but India has a huge tradition of dialogue. The Nyaya philosophy talks about dialogue. So Gandhi probably adopted it from there. And this is one message that Gandhi has given to the world, that no matter what is the crisis, no matter how much conflict is there, dialogue should be possible. Dialogue is possible. Human beings only through dialogue can arrive on conclusions. That obviously would mean that we have to avoid violence. We have to become non-violent. So dialogue, commitment to our truth, the agra for the satya, but at the same time, exploring the possibility of knowing better truths. So don't treat the other as an enemy. The other viewpoint is important vantage point from where you should examine your own viewpoint and see what could be the best possible viewpoint. So I think this is the message that Gandhi gives today to the world, particularly at a time, when human beings have developed capacity to kill human beings so much. We can kill the entire humanity several times now. So much of arsenals we have developed, and we can see growing conflict in the world. We have Israel, we have Ukraine crisis, Hamas-Israel crisis. So the kind of instrument being used in this crisis, in these wars, only shows that humanity's existence is in danger. At that time, somebody who can stand and say that we must develop ethics in politics, we must develop possibilities of dialogue and resolving our crisis by dialogue, conflict by dialogue, is amazing. And I think that is the most important message that he has given to the world, which is going to be important for next 100, 200, 300 years, I'm sure.
Now, this is three things you have underlined. Three things. One is to say dialogue. Another is that when you dialogue with your opponent, now how do you treat your opponent? You don't treat your opponent as an enemy. You might differ with him on different things. You might have different views, but you don't treat him as an enemy. And these are the two Gandhian principles. And in today's world, all around us, so it's not that we do not speak about dialogue, we speak about dialogue, but then we perhaps do not believe in creating a conducive atmosphere for dialogue. And there is perhaps the trust on the opponent is missing. How do you see it? How do you respond to this thing?
This is the biggest crisis of humanity, that we have lost trust. I think I call it trust deficit. Trust deficit is so big that we have not only stopped trusting our enemies, we have stopped trusting our friends also. We have stopped trusting our families also. And ultimately, we have stopped trusting ourselves. We have lost trust in ourselves, that whether we will be taking a right decision or not. So I think there is a crisis, there is a problem, that everybody talks about possibility of dialogue. Everybody thinks that dialogue is important, but conducive atmosphere for dialogue is not being created. I think this is the challenge. And this challenge has to be met by people themselves. I don't think that we can be dependent on the state or on the ruling elites or the ruling classes to create that atmosphere of dialogue. Because dialogue is not in their interest. Ruling classes wants us to be divided. The people who are in the privileged position, in order to retain their privileged position, they would like people to be divided. So it is the people's concern now. People have to come together, create spaces of dialogue. I always wonder, how could it happen that Asian societies had so many languages, religion, culture, so many things, but we never had any history of major war on these grounds. There were conquest and kings and all those things were happening, but there was no civil war on these grounds. Why did that not happen? My understanding is that in Asian societies, you will find there were many spaces for such people's dialogues. I will give you some examples. In Assam, I guess, something I discovered was Namghar. It is not an ordinary space. It is a space which I think a couple of my students have now worked on that. It's a very spiritual space where there is a possibility of dialogue that you explore. You go to Bhopal, there is a tradition in Bhopal called Patiya tradition, where people come together, sit in the evening and talk very uh, irrelevant things at times, but also critique the state, critique each other. That's how they engage in a dialogue. You go to part of Bihar, there are elevated machans. I'm sure in Assam also, the bamboo machans must be there, slightly elevated from the earth. And people come and sit there and talk. So one time I was trying to discover, I'm talking of Simanchal area where Muslim and Hindu population are there in almost equal proportion. I was just trying to find out whether on these machans both the communities were sitting and talking about things or not. And I discovered that actually a lot of conflicts were resolved on those machans by talking. So this tradition of talking and healing in our society has been very old tradition. It is not utopia. It could be utopia in the West, I guess, where such dialogue traditions did not exist too much. But in Asian societies, you will find long conversations, engaged dialogues are very common, very, very common. We are basically talkative people. We talk out things.
Yes, yes.
So I guess Gandhi was right that he was saying that, well, it is possible to resolve this crisis.
See, when you were talking about the Namghar, Assam's Namghar, so actually we have grown in that atmosphere. But what happens in Namghar? In Namghar, first you see all the religious things. So there will be, see, Nam Prasanga, so recitation, some, you see, Nam Kirtan. Uh, and then after everything is over, then the contentious issues in the locality, in the community, will come up for discussion, and this will be resolved after the prasad is distributed or while the prasad is being distributed. So these issues will be discussed. I was myself witness to this in my childhood. Maybe I was at the time 7 years old or maybe 8 years old. So I used to go to Namghar and then we used to witness these things. Now, having said this thing, as because we are discussing Gandhi, now would you give me some instances from Gandhi's life when he had encounter with his opponents and his opponent was very hostile, and but then still he had discussion with him, dialogue with him, and somehow, okay, in some cases they agreed, in some cases they maybe they didn't agree. But if you can give me some examples from Gandhi's life, because then people will understand, our audience will understand it better, because keeping it at the level of theory and bringing it to the practice.
Sure. one example that I keep giving is 1946, close to 47, I guess. There was a Pratna Sabha. Gandhi was supposed to come to the Pratna Sabha, and people were shouting, "Arrest Zina, arrest Zina. Zina should be arrested." And there's a huge crowd assembled there to have a darshan of Gandhi. And good number of people were shouting this slogan, "Please arrest Jinnah. Jinnah has to be arrested." So Gandhi comes. Gandhi comes, asks them to sit down, be cool. And he said, yes, Jinnah has to be arrested. We have to arrest Jinnah. There is no other way out. We have to arrest Jinnah. But my problem is that I don't have police. Nehru has all police. How to arrest Jinnah? And I have to arrest Jinnah. So I can arrest Jinnah in my heart. And the entire crowd became silent. And then Gandhi started delivering his discourse on Prarthana. He did Prarthana, then his normal discourse, and he talked about how we can live peacefully. Now, this is Gandhi. I'll give you another example. There are so many examples in his.
So beautifully, actually, he taught a lesson that, okay, that is how you can,
Yeah,
you stop thinking like Jinnah, and that is how you arrest him. You stop it,
yes,
isn't
yes,
it?
yes.
Great. And also, literally, actually, we saw it in Gandhi's film. We also read while actually immediate at the time of India's partition, when this violence actually, this communal frenzy took place in Noakhali, and he went there, and then people were very, very hostile to him. So they were putting, see, broken glasses and whatnot on his path. But then, if you can just tell me that story little bit.
Yeah, I can actually, in fact, recently a book has been published in English now. Earlier it was in Gujarati. Manu Gandhi's diary.
I read that. That's a very
Very
interesting,
interesting.
very interesting book.
Very
I
interesting.
have that book. Yeah.
Yeah. And what is he doing there? He is there and he is saying that this is my yagya. He's in Noakhali,
Yeah.
in the middle of violence. He is also experimenting with so many things. And he tells Manu that, Manu, my experiment is that can all human being think like mother, feel like mother? If we develop that feminine character of mother, then we can save humanity. And a lot of people come and tell him, you should go back. There's a danger to your life. Somebody might kill you. And he says, no, I don't bother about anything. If I am sacrificed in this, if I'm killed in this process, I will consider my yajna is complete. So I don't worry. And he goes to, and he's alone, 2, 3 people only. He refused to take any help from Birlaji or anybody in making small huts in which he used to stay. And he would go to people's families, Hindu families, Muslim families, talk to them, tell them very bitter things, and people will accept that. So the entire journey is so moving that he is in the middle of the conflict. He is not somebody who is theorizing sitting in Delhi. He is theorizing this relationship sitting in the middle of the conflict. And I think always Gandhi had a self image of Buddha. And that was his problem also. He always thought that probably, I'm not giving any empirical evidence of this, but probably always thought that my presence should be good enough to stop violence. As Buddha's presence was good enough to stop violence. You remember Ongli Mal's episode. So Gandhi was thinking that probably I'm lacking something, that even my presence is not stopping violence. And he said that he thought that that is the weakness of my yajna that I have to complete. So all these things, I think, only proves the point that he has tremendous faith in human conscience. And therefore, with the opponents, I think he never feared. He always was very confident that I can move the opponent to my side. There's a very interesting play written by Asghar Wajahat on Gandhi Savarkar. And the play imagines that after being hit by a bullet, Gandhi survives. He did not die. And then he survives. India became independent. Nehru is prime minister, but Gandhi is mobilizing people. And there is a strong feeling that there are two states existing in India, one run by Nehru, other run by Gandhi in the village. And he is all around. People are coming, attacking opposing state. And there's a meeting going on in which it is reported that Gandhi has made things very difficult. And there are legal charges against Gandhi now of Deshdroh. So he has to be arrested. And Gandhi is arrested. Nehru says that do whatever law permits. Law has to be accepted. So he is arrested. When he was arrested, he gives one condition. I am ready to be arrested. I am ready to go to jail, but you have to keep me in the same room in which Savarkar is staying. And the play suggests that Savarkar and Gandhi stayed in the same room, and there was a dialogue between the two. And finally, the play ends when Savarkar and Gandhi comes out from jail, and people are fighting. Somebody is saying Gandhi Jindabad, somebody is saying Savarkar Jindabad, but they are moving together. And Gandhi has fully influenced Savarkar and convinced him that you were wrong in killing me. So I think this imagination itself is very interesting.
This is wonderful. It's really, this is a very, very creative and very, very interesting. And I think there is a book by he is no longer now. He died quite young. Nagaras, the Nagras, Nagras.
Yeah,
There's an imaginary conversation between Ambedkar and Gandhi.
yes.
That is also quite interesting. Now, coming to a little serious aspect to it, because you mentioned Buddha. Buddhism, Buddha was very, he actually, he did his meditation in the forest under a tree, was actually sitting on earth. So he was very, very, his attachment to nature. It was it was very interesting that he was all for nature. And we also find similar, you see, traits and similar attitude and approach in Gandhi towards nature. Would you like to elaborate a little bit, or you agree with this assumption, or how do you like to respond to this?
No, I think, uh, any change in the world today has to go back to these thinkers also for this reason, that they were arguing for democratizing the relationship between humans and nature. What capitalism has done, it has made the relation between human and nature quite antagonistic. So any great thinker like Buddha or Gandhi, or even Marx, though Marx has not explicitly written on nature, but there are people who make an argument about it. Everybody probably had this idea that humans' relationship with nature has to be democratized. Because we are dependent on the nature and we are part of the nature. So Buddha and Gandhi and Mahavir Jain, I think, and Jesus Christ, most of them were not anthropocentric. They've never thought that only human beings are at the center of the universe and they have right to exploit. The word being used by modern thinkers, exploiting the nature. They never thought that nature has to be exploited. They always thought that we have to coexist with nature. Then only we can be liberated. Any destruction of nature would be disaster for human being because human beings are dependent on the nature. So not only one generation, two generations, but future generations of humanity. So Gandhi and Buddha kind of people, they were not thinking of one generation or two generation. I think they were thinking of humanity at large. And anybody who would think of humanity at large will definitely argue that nature, human relation with nature has to be democratized. The famous slogan, Geo or Jeene Do, Geo or Jeene Do. That is the fundamental thing, I guess.
Great, great. Actually, recently, 2 years back, I read a book called Jason Hickel, and he has two books. One is Divide, another is Less is More. And here, this is what exactly he said, that okay, this Western civilization, science, weapons, and scientific, you see, method and science and technology on the one hand. So that is where actually he was talking about Gandhian thoughts, Gandhi's uh, approach to nature, and how now the modern concept of sustainable development and all those things. I think these were basic things in Gandhi's teaching. Now,
Can I make one more small point? There's a very fundamental difference in Gandhi and the modern Western thinking. The modern Western thinking, basically capitalism, if we talk about, is based on one principle. In fact, there are two principles as fundamental principles. One is that greed is good. Adam Smith
yes,
made this greed is good, greed is
yes,
developmental. And the other one is that, okay, once we are greedy, we produce more, then there has to be common good. The product is common good, so it should be distributed. So common good generally vanished gradually, but greed remained there as fundamental principle. And Gandhi fundamentally challenged by saying that nature has enough for need, but not for greed.
yes,
If you make greed as a fundamental principle of a system, then the system can never be
yes.
friendly to nature or to humans.
Now, actually, we shall continue our discussion, but there is 10 minutes. But then after this 10 minutes is over, then I'll reconnect with you. But then I just here, there's a very important actually aspect we have touched while discussing Gandhi. Once, Ramchandra Guha, he has written big book on Gandhi, and then in my conversation with him, I asked him about Gandhi's thoughts on economy. Then he said that no, 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 actually, Gandhi didn't think much about, we should not bring in Gandhi to economic issues because he really didn't have much to contribute so far this, the things economics concern. But okay, I didn't argue with him, but I don't agree what he said. I said, whatever these Gandhian thoughts, it also has strong economic actually corollary. So how do you like to respond to that?
See, I don't think that Gandhi did not have economic thinking. I think Gandhi's economic thought was very powerful, very
What for?
strong.
Yes,
Yes, Gandhi, I think, is a system builder. In India, there were so many system builders. When I'm saying system builder means somebody who thinks in totality, all aspects of human beings. So Gandhi, I think, was one of those, like Kautilya, who thought of transforming the entire system. Therefore, there is no question that Gandhi has no idea about economics. I think he had very strong understanding of how do human beings engage with nature for fulfilling their needs. And the idea of small is beautiful is a very powerful idea. Once
Yes.
again, gaining new grounds now.
Yes.
So I think craft, art and craft, is producing for smaller groups, at least things that could be produced for smaller groups. So many contribution of Gandhi in economic thought is there, and their Gandhian economies would rather argue that if we go by sustainable system, by sustainability as a criteria, it is only Gandhian economy which is sustainable. So even if you think of Marxist theory of alienation, what is the solution to alienation? If you remain, see, Marx is a product of post-industrial revolution ethos. He does not question industrialization. Gandhi questions even industries,
Industrialization.
and rightly so. Because the moment because the industrialization as an economy is disastrous for nature, is
Absolutely.
disastrous for human beings. So I don't agree with Professor Guha that Gandhi did not have economic thought. I think very powerful economic thought. Only those people who do not want to read Gandhi in totality, only want to extract the peace idea from Gandhi, they focus on other things than this. I think Gandhi is a warrior, is a peaceful warrior. He gives a transformative social science. And that transformative social science is a kind of totality, changing the entire system. Like Marx is a system builder, changing the entire system. So Gandhi has a new system in mind.
And that is why, you see, he has his views on women, on, see, education, on and as you rightly say that, okay, Marxist view on alienation. So what is the difference? Actually, frankly speaking, there is not much difference between Gandhi's notion of alienation and Marxist notion of alienation, because whatever you do, if you are detached from it, then this alienation creeps in. So that is why, and as you were saying, this, the village industries, say, this cottage industries and other things, people are so intricately from all sides, from production and marketing. So it is people very involved in all these things. So we cannot say that. And Gandhi was, I think you'll agree with me that Gandhi has a very holistic kind of a thing and approach towards life. So that is why I didn't agree with Dr. Ramchandra Guha, Professor Ramchandra Guha, that Gandhi didn't have.
I agree.
So now,
I'm surprised to see that Gandhi also has a book on food habits and food, what to eat, what not to eat.
yeah,
So he has almost
and he had so many experimentations on that, no, on food.
on food.
And food, and also health, all the
Exactly.
natural treatments, this art treatment, this water treatment, and all kinds of things.
So
So
many
you
things.
can, yeah, so quite interesting. Now my we cannot go on talking endlessly. So I have now another question to you. And was actually, we were discussing the supplementary questions only. Now I have come to the second most important question. Well, today we live in a time of Hindutva. Gandhiji was also a religious person, very religious person. Some people even want to say that he was responsible for the partition of the country. How do you respond to that, particularly in the light of his understanding of inter-community relations and his approach to caste and gender?
So let me take up the religion first. I think if you look at the Indian national movement was innovating something very interesting on religion. You know, we have to really accept, Gandhi says in Hind Swaraj, that there cannot be any revolution in India without taking religion into account. So religion, if you start from Ram Mohan Roy to Ambedkar, Ram Mohan Roy, Vivekanand, Gandhi, Ambedkar, you will find there is an approach that gradually evolves. What is that approach? That religion is important, but there are problems with religion that has to be examined and questioned. So they treated religion as knowledge system, not as identity system, not as an ideology. So the resource of religion, they would say, is very important for humanity, and therefore we have to reclaim religions. I was saying that how, yeah, I can. I was saying that how in Indian national movement you will find a very interesting approach on religion was emerging. That was treat religion as important, but critique religion internally, transform it into a progressive force so that people are released from the kind of hegemony of religion and they participate in the progressive movement. This was the approach, which Ambedkar finally culminated by saying religion of rules and religion of principles. He said religion of principles is good, but all principles are subjected to rules mediated by power relationship. That we have to change. So we have to have a religion of principles. I think Gandhi, Ambedkar, Tagore, all of them have similar perspective to this. And moreover, India, one has to recognize that India is a land where 4 major religions have emerged. And many others are coming from outside and settling here. So we have already survived with many religions, emergence of many religions, without killing each other. So Gandhi was very clear about it, that religion is a great source of knowledge, is a great source of ethics, is a great source of inspiration for fighting, for struggling. So religion is a transformative force. That is what Gandhi was interested in. And I think we have to recognize that modern state, good old Machiavelli has always argued that modern state or ruling class should use religion for its benefit. Now, it is the job of the intellectuals and of the common people to reclaim religion from the ruling classes, make it transformative, make it dialogical, engaging with each other on religion. Gandhi used to say, I am not interested in religion by small r, means religions. I'm interested in religion per se. That is important. For all religions for me are good as long as they are progressive. So therefore, we have to really acknowledge this great contribution of these thinkers, which a reflection of this you can see in Latin America, where the liberation theology emerged as a great progressive Christian religion. I think either they have learned it from Indian national movement, or there's a definite correlation between Indian national movement and liberation theology. So I think they were creating a liberative religion. And you can see this even in literature. In Hindi literature, some people have written about it. I have a couple of novels in mind where this idea has been very widely reflected.
Even you see that Raja Rao's novel,
Yes.
you see, that Kanthapura.
Kantapura, yes.
Kanthapura. And another thing, actually, it was very striking because Gandhi, he was above the ritualistic things of
Yeah,
religion. He is very severely criticized Kumbh Mela. He very
yeah,
severely criticized Kumbh Mela. And another thing that one actually, when he was, some people criticize him for mixing politics with religion. And I would like to take your take on that also. I'd like to have your response on that also. But then once he was,
yeah,
so for him, if what is the objective of politics? The objective of politics is, you see, human welfare and doing justice to people. And what is the objective of religion? The same, where there is no question of justice. As you were telling these things, I would like to hear more on that about ethical realism. So, so he was saying that. So, how do you like to respond to that?
yeah. I think a small point about this, people blaming Gandhi for communal politics. Mirananda kind of people, they are saying that Gandhi is responsible for today's Hindutva and all that. I think that's not a serious argument. Not that Gandhi's intention was there at any moment, and never Gandhians got involved in that. In fact, Gandhi were killed for for that. Gandhi was killed for communal harmony. So I don't think that is true. In fact, Irfan Habib writes a very interesting essay on Gandhi, and he makes a point that why Gandhi ruled the heart of people. And that's an interesting point, that what made Gandhi such a lovable character among the Muslims also. Recently, I watched a very interesting serial in Pakistan, a Pakistani serial, Main Manto To Nahi. The protagonist of that serial is a Gandhian. It looks like a Gandhian. Not that Gandhi's name has come any time. I want to now write on Gandhi in Pakistan. Is he there in the collective consciousness of Pakistan today or not? I'm sure Gandhi is there in collective consciousness. So that is one part. I don't think that is a serious argument when somebody says Gandhi is responsible for this kind of thing. Second thing, the ethical realism. I think Gandhi is a very interesting person. And the most important contribution to the global philosophy that Gandhi makes is this, that, you must have a very realist understanding of the reality. Means reality as it is. You should not mix any ethics or morality when you are understanding reality. So you should know what processes are taking place, what is happening, which direction it will take. But at the same time, you should also be sure that human beings have an ethical agency. Human beings are not always controlled by structures of society. You can take your own decision, very ethical. Even if I know by doing this I may die, but I take that decision. I have freedom to take that decision. I always say this small story, famous story, that one sadhu is standing in river and an insect comes flowing, and sadhu saves the insect. Insect bites the sadhu and again gets into water. The sadhu removes that, again gets into water. Third time he removes, then somebody asks him, why are you doing it? Don't you know that this insect will bite you? He said, yes, I know. Insect is doing its own work. I am doing my work. I have that ethical agency to save the insect. So I am doing my work. I will be punished. I will have problem because of that. I know it fully well. I think that is Gandhi. He says that he has tremendous faith in human agency, that no matter how much problem is there, human beings have that ethical agency to change the reality. But if you don't understand reality as it is, then that is foolishness. You must understand it as it is, but you should hold that agency to fight with the real world and change the world in the direction that you want to change. I think this is the biggest contribution of Gandhi to humanity?
I have two questions for you. That is, after that we actually conclude this conversation. Now, my next question is that okay, so for caste is concerned, and the Ambedkar's views on caste, how Ambedkar viewed caste, and what was Gandhi's position. So for the caste was concerned.
Yeah. This is the most controversial aspect of Gandhi's ideas. I think we have to understand two things. One, that Gandhi has been evolving in his ideas on caste. Because Gandhi did not have the exposure of structure of domination of caste that Ambedkar had. And Gandhi acknowledges that. First meeting between Gandhi and Ambedkar was not a very happy meeting. But the fact is that Gandhi says after that meeting, Gandhi never read anything written by Ambedkar unread. He read everything that Ambedkar wrote. He took Ambedkar quite seriously. He changed his agenda of work. So Gandhi, I think, was modest enough to accept that his understanding of things were not good enough, and he started staying with in Dalit Bastis to experience that. He developed an empathy with them, yet the experience that Ambedkar had, Gandhi could never have, just because they were born into different circumstances. But there is an interesting difference apart from this. Ambedkar's argument is what? Ambedkar's argument is that how to fight against caste. He thinks that modern state can abolish caste through law, through the legal instrument. That is his main idea. Because he believes in his state. He has firm faith in his state. Gandhi does not have faith in his state. Not that Gandhi wanted to protect caste. I think Gandhi gradually understood the problem, and he then agreed to kind of fight this kind of evil. But he had more faith in social process. He was saying that no matter how many law you make, this may not change anything on the ground. You have to create a social transformation by changing the social mind. And that is where probably Ambedkar reaches towards the end when he adopts Buddhism. Why did he adopt Buddhism? Because I think he realized that even if state laws are created, everything is done, nothing will change. And therefore, you have to change the consciousness of people. Gandhi was already saying this, that what you have to really change is the consciousness of people. And that was, I think, the meeting point for both of them. They had tremendous respect for both of them, each other, and also they have tremendous differences between them. So this is Gandhi and Ambedkar, Gandhi and Tagore. You will find such people were not narrow, small people. I think they are big human beings. When they were disagreeing, that was not the personality clash, I think.
Not at
that
all.
was the vision clash of the
Not at all.
clash of the, right.
Now I'll come to this is my last question. Now you said at the beginning of this discussion, you said that okay, your exposure to Marxism was earlier first, and then only you came to Gandhi. So how is this? Say how do you actually describe this? Your exposure to Marxism, and then your understanding of Gandhi. So the similarities and dissimilarities and your personal view on it. That is how we'll end this discussion today.
Yes, one point I want to make is that in today's world, if you think of any revolutionary politics, you have to think of three texts. I call them Prasthan Trayi. There's a new Prasthan Trayi. Communist Manifesto, Hind Swaraj, and Annihilation of Caste. These three texts have to be read together to make any possible transformative politics today. No, not one of them will not do. Any one of them will do. Is not sufficient. All three have to be read together, debated together. I don't think Ambedkar and Gandhi had very good idea of nature of. If we want to understand capitalism, we can't go to Ambedkar and Gandhi. We have to go to Marx. Capitalism is a big system, isn't it? There's no way out. We have no way out except to read Marx to understand how does capitalism operate today. Similarly, I think Gandhi and Ambedkar had that understanding of human being as agency, ethical agency. Ambedkar had some, but not that strong faith in humans' ethical agency that Gandhi had, or Gandhi's commitment to dialogue. For that, we have to go to Gandhi. Marx won't do for that. Marx will go into conflict. Similarly, neither Gandhi nor Marx have the opinion, have the understanding of the structures of domination that are not very visible, like caste, humiliation, dignity, question of dignity, emerging from race, caste, gender, and all that. For that, we have to go to Ambedkar. So the real challenge for today's thinkers is, how do we engage in a dialogue with three thinkers of liberation and create a new set of ideas for revolutionary politics? That is the real challenge for the political thinkers today.
I think that's the real take of this conversation also. Because personally, now, okay, I have read, say, the Communist Manifesto. I'm interested in Gandhi and I have read Hind Swaraj, and I've also read Annihilation of Caste by Ambedkar. But the way you presented it, I never thought that there should be a dialogue between these three pillars. And that's, of course, because we cannot understand economic exploitation, this capitalist exploitation, without going to Marx. We cannot understand unless we put ourselves in the feet of Ambedkar. We cannot understand caste without understanding, without reading, without appreciating Ambedkar. But actually, between these two things, the human approach, the appeal to humanity, dialogue, and all embracing things, I think that we get in Gandhi.
From Gandhi.
Gandhi. And I think this is on Gandhi's death anniversary. So this is what we learn. We participate and we learn and we try to practice. Thank you so much for this interview. I am personally, really, I found this very, very enlightening. And I look forward to more such conversation, issue-based conversation with you. So for this great thinkers are concerned. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity.